All right, everybody, let's get to it. A big happy 200. Really just want to take a second and thank everybody that's a part of this show. This is our 200th podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it. So it really has been phenomenal experience for me. And again, big shout out to all the people that have come together. Guys like David and Swooping Hawk, Miss Stephanie, and the mods and the people that are in our Discord. Also, big shout out to Mitch Ray, because Mitch Ray is really the guy that inspired me to kind of come out of hiding, if you will, and get out there. So, and to all of you that are here and those that are listening, really grateful to the whole Harmonic trader community. So, how's everybody doing today? Big crypto stuff happening. I mean, real big. It's impressive. Here's Ethereum. Just popped up to new highs for the year and the move. So it's interesting times, right? Pretty interesting times. So appreciate everybody joining us today. And we're here Tuesday, Thursday, 12 noon Eastern. And let's just get with the crypto and talk about crypto. I'll move over to the other markets. You're having a pullback today with the S&P off 35, no biggie. NASDAQ pretty much, not too bad. I mean, they're a down day, but not really getting crunched like you would think. The Dow's off 300, given back yesterday, but listen, not really anything that is an issue. I'm actually impressed with the crypto. You guys impressed with crypto so far this year? Probably not what really not what people were expecting coming out of the gate, but here we are. And Ethereum is a great one to look at because is this threatening the breakout above a whole lot of levels where, type 1 off the bat, come back to type 2, and with confirmation on that return? And what have we done? Look at where we hit the hop, which is right here. That's really the official starting point for the structural retest. And count the bars. We talked about this Thursday of where we're going to be within that 30-bar window, either from the hop or the confirmation. But all of that puts us into a very interesting window of basically 2 weeks from now to determine the rest of the year. So, absolutely. What's up, Evan? Razorback, Justin, APV, Ryan, everybody else, what's going on today? I'll share a little story with you this morning that I kind of scared me. I went to my Coinbase Pro and I had a zero balance there, and I thought I got hacked. And it turns out Coinbase is moving over to a new platform, so they automatically moved my entire portfolio. I thought it was gone, but just for Coinbase people to know, they're going through some changes too. So let's just that was that's something with crypto. I always fear that getting hacked, and you hear these nightmare stories, and you just show up and there's nothing there, but all is well over here. Look, no matter what happens going forward with crypto, all is still relatively well. You really can't be too disappointed with what's happened. I mean, again, I think it was going to be a total disaster. We'd still be sinking to new lows, but now look, we're Ethereum better on the daily here, starting to break out of this larger zone where we know the deal. Target 1 at 2403 is about to get set on any kind of a breakout above these static levels. So I think it's pretty safe to say we go back to easily retest the prior highs at 2000, but I'm thinking in short order soon we're going to pop and get to 2400 or above. Yeah, I didn't catch all the FUD. KZ's saying there's some FUD from Coinbase and Binance. I know there's been a lot of stuff going on there. Ledger Nano X, Justin is saying, in terms of security. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. But listen, it's progress. And again, I still say, let's take away the patterns for a second, just so we know what everyone else is looking at. Most people are just looking standard static lines, trend lines, wedges, stuff like that. And I don't think anybody can really deny this phenomenon, this certainty that you're to the right of that downtrend and you're breaking out above those prior highs, where you can start to get some distance off of that low. And then what ends up happening here is this base becomes rather significant. That base of basically 300 days, 300 sessions. That's a nice basing formation. And even with our prescribed levels, it's safe to say that 2400, a target 1 minimum objective, could come to fruition sooner than later. Things are definitely happening, and I think they really got kicked off in Bitcoin with all that banking nonsense, and Bitcoin, same deal. Some back-to-back patterns here for sure on Bitcoin, and maybe let's just run through the quick top 5, which will start with Bitcoin, and it's sitting right here at the top end of a type 2 shark, the larger deep crab back here. That's about to take, this whole crab pattern is about to take over, meaning once we get past the next 2 weeks, and it is 2 more weeks, that we can start to put our sole focus on 37,200. 37,200. And I think you're in a pause because you do have a verifiable bearish harmonic pattern. It's a type 2 for sure. You even have confirmation up here that which you have retested. I was talking a little bit about that to the gold members yesterday, but that these yellow dots like to get retested, much like the arrows, but that's it. There's no room for fudging that retest once the yellow dot is in. So, I'm still waiting to see what happens. As I said last week as well, you'd want to see a high level bullish signal during this pause if we're going to get a breakout. Look at your daily HSI. I mean, it is rolling over, and the likely retest of an oversold reading coming in fairly quick. But I think that sets up some kind of opportunity down here for then to launch up to target 1. All of them, all the patterns, folks, have, all the patterns we've been looking at in major crypto are simply about the entire target 1 assessment, that your major patterns, if it's, XRP or if it's Ethereum or Bitcoin, they all need to go through this reaction phase to target 1. It's almost mechanical within the framework. We are up here with the shark now that we've done nothing. I mean, it's a harmonic pause, as I like to call it. Hasn't budged despite everything. I mean, it's a perfect type 2. You have confirmation, but just going sideways, that's a sign of strength. And you don't really see it until you get the confirmation and then you put in the work inside the window of holding your head, holding above the obvious resistance levels, and then, do something like a nominal reaction and then go again. That would be the thing to look for. I say give it, that 30 bar window, either from the exact retest, which was back in mid-March, takes you to about the 12th or 15th of April. And then we'll see how to gauge that. We'll really be able to understand how soon that's going to take shape. But Bitcoin, still fine. If you want a strategy for Bitcoin, it's, simply like this. You get above that resistance, you take 2 more weeks, and then you're going to go make the run for 37.2. And I'll be a part of that leg. I mean, that's where I'll size up on Bitcoin for that breakout. Does it happen quickly, a day or a couple of days? I expect a big candle. I would expect like a 3-bar breakout, get some kind of big 3-day breakout range, which for the current level, any strong close above 28,500, 28.6, then gets you on an accelerated path where 37,000 comes in a relatively short period of time, like in like a 30 session, just restart the 30 bar count. Once this fails, then we're in an acceleration window, 30 sessions minimum, 37,200. Yeah, above 28,000, but it's, somebody's saying no more FOMO above 28. Yeah, I mean, the FOMO, the acceleration phase for FOMO is a better way to say it. And then that's really what we've been looking for, those signals. We know that this was just an ugly, deep, long, extended consolidation of this PRZ, and still was not as ideal as some of the other ones. But look, it's this segment on the breakout to target 1, and these are minimums, is your highest probability acceleration that is setting up, that we've seen really going all the way back. I mean, you got to go back to the last cycle. And I'm just taking the minimum, but definitely the possibility for a higher move beyond 37.2, as high as 49.3. Those are the 2 targets. So I think for Bitcoin, if you're thinking you're going to miss out, it's going to be above these highs, and it's going to be in 2 weeks. So yes, update those notes. Let's put acceleration there. Let's say acceleration instead of FOMO. So we'll look at that. I think there's a lot of interesting things to actually look at today. Gold's up and really starting to make a run at those prior all-time highs. So yeah, we'll look at that. And let's just run through the rest of the crypto. We already looked at Ethereum, but again, just as number 2 on the list, we do want to pay attention to that because it is exhibiting a potential breakout above this hop level. It is a type 2, and we went into a pause here. So like I said, with Bitcoin, you're 10, 15 sessions max away from knowing what the whole scenario is going to be. And that could be an immediate run to 2403. We got to trigger it. I need to see a strong bullish close, 3-bar breakout, something like that. You almost tried to do it. You're kind of trying to do it right now. That has to close above 1845. So 1845, 1850, 1860, maybe tops, but I don't anything much above 1850. I think that's it. And you start to go in acceleration mode. We can look at what's going on in our indicators, and these are some interesting aspects of why we look at our amplified RSI, or even better, harmonic strength index. Is there anything up here corresponding with where we are? Any overbought signals? No. If anything, we've got HSI coming back up into the zone. That's a strong move. That's in a strong position. Be aware of that. And then weeklies, look, even the weekly for Ethereum, equally impressive. Look at all of the tests at the 50 level. 1, 2, 3. Go again. Come up higher and make another run up to for another HSI trigger. Very likely. And amplified RSIs like that. So you know that if you wanted to be bearish, your signals are not there yet. And we know structurally with the levels, especially the weekly, still favoring up. And we've been, since October, on a nice steady incline off of the lows. Nice pattern of higher highs, higher lows almost every week. So impressive. And I've done the major retracements before. They're off those daily patterns, but just so folks know, we always look for a minimum 382 retracement. That is the the definition of a minimum harmonic move, 382, and that puts you at 2400. Even if we were still in a bear market, you go to a 50% level. That's 29. Your 618 is up here at 33. So, and I'm not saying it's going to make the jump there. Let's take it in chunks. But 2400 looking easier and easier, and 1 or 2 more closes like today or this week, and you're going to see something rather important blast off. Final piece for Ethereum, and there's several of these that are like this, but we can connect dots. We're always looking for M's and W's as our structural framework. And if this takes shape over the next couple of weeks where, hey, there's a B point off of that X to A move, that sets up a potential bat action magnet move. So above 2,000, we can trace ourselves a bat pattern, and that's 3,300. That's how we frame out those structures. That's how we look for those levels. We use harmonic pattern collection for those standardized algorithms to really kick out the true harmonic levels. But even if you were going to draw by hand, you need to be aware of that whole bat action, magnet mood, harmonic breakout phenomenon. So ride Ethereum. Again, a 3-week breakout is a close above 1861, 1862. It's right there. I mean, you are right there right now, 1862.54. If you fast forward that to, by Sunday, even anywhere above there, you're going to have follow through. I think it's pretty interesting that that's taking shape so quickly. Number 3, still Binance Coin. And here we go. This is probably the laggard, and it's got more of that BAM phenomenon. I've demonstrated this and, kind of theorized that eventually you get above that 400 level, then you go. So Ethereum and Bitcoin are probably in a closer spot to triggering that move than, say, Binance Coin. Keep an eye on that. Number 4, XRP. And you're, after last week's bump to 58, you're holding at 50 cents. I'm not really too concerned about that. You're looking for this thing to pop, follow through. I will say this, you get a final close above 58.50 or above 60 cents, much like the rest of them, they're going to trigger out of the zone and you're going to run straight to 92.3 cents. So that's, that sets you up for understanding where crypto can potentially really catch a fire. And that's what you want to see. So all of that, in light of what's happened over the last year, especially since the bottom last summer, we would be looking for that to do things as we get into later in this month, and especially as we approach, I would say, June. We will see things by the end of June. And I think these target ones should not be dismissed. We'll go through some other patterns, but with the way crypto is shaping up, and you have an interesting fundamental backdrop of, a bank crisis. You literally have a banking crisis going on right now. I don't think anybody knew that. So big money, that almost lost their money in Silicon Valley Bank, even though they got bailed out. I think a lot of people are having second thoughts. And then you hear about all of the BRICS, all of those movements that, those are big deals. The Saudi Arabia deal with Iran and China. I mean, talk about getting Iran and Saudi Arabia together in the same room to negotiate a deal, let alone agree on things and say, okay, we're not going to deal with the United States. We'd rather deal with Iran than deal with the United States. Is, it is, that's a positive for Bitcoin, because those people are, they're still going to want to be in some kind of dollar related asset. And Bitcoin's probably going to be where some of that money goes. Interesting. It's really interesting. I think a lot of people knew that would be a long-term story, but you have concrete details being printed almost every day now. Yeah, Carthago, I saw that too. He made the comment that France, of all countries, was the first country to settle in yuan on taking a big shipment of LNG. They paid in yuan. France. This is France. Not one of these other countries. A country you would think would be aligned with the United States. So these are things, major things that people have always talked about. Then now they seem to be taking shape quickly. Don't dismiss it. We are definitely entering in a new phase here. And I think this year we're going to come through it. We're going to come out on the other side of this year looking at things a bit differently, considering things that maybe are going to influence the market that weren't there a year or two ago. Number 5, boy, we've been kind of flipping around with number 5. I've been saying it's Cardano for a while. Cosmos, I like Cardano. I think it's, one of the more popular ones. Cardano never came back down for the Type 2, the full Type 2 at 28.2. Not really doing anything with it just yet. I think this has got potential for the next run. It's just not setting up. But what about something like Doge? Why Doge? Well, Doge did put in a shark pattern right at the low, folks. Remember that? And it did a blast off. Amazing. All because they changed the logo on Twitter pretty much. But that's your reason. And we have a lot of patterns like this right now. We have a lot of patterns that formed on the daily in recent months that completed. Here's another one. This is for you, Justin. Where's Gala? Come on back here. Let's go to Gala because that was one that off the high formed a shark pattern. And this is daily. So even though we have major weekly patterns, even since this year, we've had on this retest some real nice bats and shark patterns like this, setting up to be a continuation move off the next, this next leg. Come back down here on Gala like that, back down to the terminal bar around 3.5 cents, maybe 3.25, and then you go. But that's what you want to see. Definitely you want it 2 of 2. You want a high level pattern confirmation. And I know Gala had a big, where's that? It's a big pattern in Gala on the weekly. Hold on, let me get the rate. That's Coinbase. That has not traded enough. I think it's a Binance feed on Gala. Maybe it's daily just on Gala. But aside from the shark, I know there's should have been a crab down there. My apologies. I'll have to come back to that. And maybe just an all-time 886 reset. But that's a perfect T-coin scenario. Definitely more than 90% off the all-time high. But on the daily, you have that pattern. And that's probably the trigger point for larger possibilities, larger acceleration. One or two more of these that, again, look like they are just taking their time. But look at Chili's now. And Chili's has been one where we said, yeah, probably come all the way back to 11.28 off of that crab. And it's holding. Definitely holding. It's no coincidence that, all the way back here where we first identified that crab on Chili's, you came back, you tested that zone, and you weren't able to penetrate and starting to make progress. So if you can get above any kind of daily close above 12.6, 13 cents, should get that going. I like this, and I do think we need to be thinking longer term, where we'll be in 3 months, 6 months, keeping our eye on Bitcoin, keeping our eye on Ethereum. And then you get your T coins to pop off where they go 2, 3, 5x. Just remarkable stuff sizing up. The only frustration is the patience required to sit through all of this over the next many months to get yourself back to target 2 at a minimum 23.5 cents. So, those are a few of the ones. Another one that tried to take off yesterday. Here's this anchor, and it's looking like it's revving its engines. That's the way I read it, because we had the type 1. You have a couple patterns back here from last year, all in that 2.5, 3 cent zone. And then you had this bat pattern at 2.87. And look, we came back. This move was an actual type 1. You came back for the type 2 at 2.8. Now that flashed up to 4 yesterday. Looked like it was going to take off, but not just yet. So be patient with this. I still think in the short term, you go back and retest the recent highs at a minimum. Do something like this, just tracing out the W structure so that you're aware that when it does move, once you get above 4 again or close above 4, that should shoot the gap up above 5 cents. Now, this stuff is going to zigzag for a while to where you're going to see a lot of back and forth as it tries to stair step, and the longer term targets of possibilities for big patterns really taking shape, or big moves off of these bullish patterns to take shape, where you can get big weekly, big daily retracements, like it is an all-time 382. We saw that with Bitcoin, we saw that with Ethereum, that they're all setting up to gonna do a minimum 382 retest. And you could apply that to just about any crypto out there, where what we expect off these lows is a minimum daily, weekly harmonic 382 retracement. That's 9 cents. 9 cents. So just be aware that on a percentage basis, yes, you're going to bump 20-30% swings. I mean, when Anchor was at 4 cents just recently and went back to, what was it, 330. I mean, a 25% move in a day. I mean, up 30%, down 25. But these are small gyrations on our way to try to break out of these zones for the next larger cycle. Couple of more. First, before I continue, folks, if anybody's not here, anybody here not on the platform, go to harmonictrader.com and register now as a basic member. Go to the basic members page, and that's where it all begins, especially for new folks or people that are interested. Everything you need is on that basic members page. So go through it carefully. Most of the questions that can be answered here, the books, the webinars, send your username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. You get a 14-day free trial to the TradingView platform. And if you want to try another one, some of the folks were talking about the MetaTrader 5. There's two versions, MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. MetaTrader 5 is really the one for crypto. So keep that in mind. But check these out, and then go to the bottom here. Check out the cheat sheets and our Discord link, and jump on into that community right there. Okay? That's what we're working with. But even on this latest pullback, for a lot of the ones that got going in January, they're setting up with patterns. Like here's Ape. And Ape is, I just think, another example of multiple patterns. I mean, look, back-to-back patterns all over the place. You know, shark, bullish shark up here, went to a bat, came back, now another bullish bat. And this is actually a type 2. Look at how quickly that took shape. From 361 to 467 and got rejected. I would expect the type 2 to come in for the retest at 361. Again, you're above 4, so give it time, but there's big patterns there. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, thank you. I'm getting over something the last few days. Quite a head cold. Anyway, but go through all of that, and on the software. Hey, we'll show you this really quick. Look at here's the crypto scanner. So if you want a scanner for the software where you can just go and look at the automatic pattern matches, we have this scanner here where you can set it up any time interval, and I've got a bunch jammed in here. I would not overload this. I would say you could probably do 2 windows and go, I think it's 8 per window. So you could have 32 of your favorite crypto, and that's just one window. You could run multiple windows, but that gives you a really fine sense of an easy way to keep track of all of this. I mean, even when we go to a daily, that's better. And we can just run through the matches. So there's the bat pattern in BTC getting kicked out. Binance coins, bullish bat. So check all of that out. Did want to show that just briefly. The MetaTrader 5 has a good scanner like that. It's probably even more stable than this. You probably can do more with that MetaTrader 5. I'll leave it to you to check all of that out. But we want to be scanning for the daily patterns, in my opinion. Anything that comes back and can print a bullish pattern after these big runs is going to set up for another continuation opportunity. Here's this AGIX. That was something, I think that was an AI thing, but this is on a 4-hour. Should be a pattern down here. Yeah, okay. So even AGIX on a 4-hour, like I said, that was one of the high flyers, looking like it would want to come back for a type 2. And it's your 40 cents now, that's 29. I would just wait for it. Be patient with it. Another one that I really like is Ethereum Classic. And that looks like this. A couple of big patterns on our daily. Yeah, daily. So that's a type 2. Ethereum Classic has really bounced around, but I expect Ethereum Classic to pop once we get out of this zone because it's a type 2. There's the one reaction. Came all the way back down to 17 and spent maybe 48 hours there. And now we're headed back up. Target 2 off of that bat goes to 33.80, and that's not an unreasonable thought. I think that also exemplifies the type of situations to be looking for where we have patterns. They've been tested, retested, setting up for the larger move, because this is where things can really pop off. The type 2s take longer. So if you're down here for 30 days or more, don't be surprised. You've made a lot of progress in 30 days. There's, this Saturday is day 30 after that retest. But I like these type of setups because just based on experience of, say, like from the .com or other times where there's been crazy markets, they crashed, then they start printing bullish patterns to set off the new cycle. That's exactly like crypto, what crypto's doing right now. What was the other one? Really quick. There's one other one that's, oh yeah, this is a little fry that I've been talking about, but this is Jasmy Coin. I am long this. I've said that for a while. Been long this for a little while. Down here, 5 cents. But it's got the kind of retest where the first reaction off that deep crab, and it is daily, registered a type 1 reaction, came back. Now you've got a bullish dot. You've got stabilization. Your XA level is 5.4. Confirmation's really down there around 5.2. Just call it 5 cents. And this could take plenty of time, but you're looking for that next move, the next leg in this one, get you back to 9 cents. And maybe beyond. But for now, again, just use the targets. Look for confirmation, and then we'll take it in chunks. If that was to explode, all right, that would be a beautiful thing. But target to 0.09 cents, that is. A couple more. Avalanche, yeah, I haven't looked at that in a little while, but I did see something on Avalanche that I thought that, or was it Avalanche or Axie? Let's look. Avalanche is... Isn't that, there's something there on the weekly. Might have been that Axie Infinity. Where's the weekly? We know that's, okay, all-time 886 for Avalanche. What is down here? Oh, yeah, okay, there it is. Massive bat and butterfly. Okay, so you go back off of the big bull market run. The correction printed 2 patterns. Basically, the algos identifying the alignments to create the zone that says, somewhere around 25, 26. Hop level was 14, and that's where the first confirmation was. So Axie, or sorry, Avalanche is all about that $14 level, trading 17 now, but this is still in a type 1 extended draw out phase. But once you clear above 22, 23, again, we're looking for these rather large type 1 targets. Not easy to envision that. Say, Scott, aren't you reaching for this a little far to say that it's going to go from 17 to 70? That's what the patterns are printing. Those are the levels based off the patterns that I would be playing for on this next big cycle. So, leave it up to you to be able to hang in there, but that's how it's coming together. The other one, the Axie Infinity, where is that? Is that it? Yeah, AXS, Binance US. Hold on. There you go. That's a little bit better. Just recently, this is a good one. Another small pattern in this Axie Infinity where we're sitting right on the Gartley. Nice thrust up. Now we form a Gartley and holding the hop at 742. Confirmation with HSI, but no check back. That's fine. You call it between 740 to $9. You're right in the middle, but this is an area to look for. The fact that we have printed a clean pattern up here suggests this is a high level continuation pattern. Go give me 30 bars. Okay, what's it doing 30 bars after completion? There you go. It's stabilized at the hop. Looking for that to break out. I would probably wait for a daily close above 855 or 860. That should set that off to go back to 1070. Another one that has the kind of pattern formation you want to see where you can expect something to happen. Filecoin. Why am I hearing a lot about Filecoin and a lot of people wanting to jump on that bandwagon? Filecoin's like this. Okay, big deep crab, beautiful deep crab, and we had a huge move from the hop, which was 396 on that first thrust, and that's all it is a first thrust. Went doubled, $9.30 at the top, 950. Come back down, and just trying to hold. You want this. Want that yellow dot confirmation to hold, and then when you on Filecoin, I'd look for that above 760. Once that gets above 760, maybe you FOMO into it, because a little bit better to get that on the breakout move. You're still in the zone. That pattern officially completed all the way back here on the deep crab. Amazing. It was a year ago that pattern really did complete. Confirmation didn't happen until 3 months later. Yes, you got to move. And this is something that I think is good to look at, where pattern completion, then confirmation. This is the area where you can at least get some kind of move. You don't follow through or you break the trend line. All right, then it becomes kind of a small trade or small reaction trade. We're looking for the larger development. Have to go to the weekly time frame to really get perspective. I mean, that's with that scam wick, that's pretty crazy. But Filecoin really you got plenty of time on it. No need to FOMO into something like that, especially with these weekly candles. Give me a 3-bar breakout. A 3-bar breakout on the weekly is, like I said, above 750. But they are in position, and that's the important thing to consider. I think 80% of trading mistakes are made in the identification phase, where people are not identifying patterns properly, so you're not even executing or looking at the correct levels. And this is an example of that, where you want to focus in on these patterns. The daily here for Filecoin has a deep crab. Clearly, the hop at 396 has been firm support. And target one off that crab pattern is $13, $13.70. But it's taking time, and it's crypto, and it forms and develops a bit differently than traditional markets. I always come back to the thought that crypto trades a lot like daily options and weekly options, where you get those kind of sporadic moves. You can get some real pop-off moves, but we're still looking for the framework. Target one, that's a target one assessment no matter what. It's just a question of where down here are we going to wait for a full retest back at 4? I don't think you'll get there. Maybe you come back and retest this dot at HSI around 490. So put that in your mind here. If you're looking at Filecoin, you could possibly come back one more time and retest this recent support. But it's generally $5, and we're arguing here about $1 when for something like Filecoin, and I think it's a good one to look at because many of the T coins are like this, where what's $1 plus or minus even 50 cents when your target one is 1370, more than a double from current levels. Keep that in mind. And we've seen a few of those. ICP, that's definitely one that's kind of just languishing on the retest, but it's a bat pattern. And the official type 2 off of that bat from last fall that was 550, but went as low to get confirmation at 485. We want to buy them when they're down. Let's see if crypto can give us a down day in the next week or two. And these kind of wash out, I think, for something like ICP. You could come back and retest some of this recent support action, support confirmation, 470, 450 even. But it's a place where you want to be. You want to be looking at this going forward into the next year and understand that you're going to be doing some work for a while before you can get to moon phase. Keep an eye on that. A couple more. Yeah, I'll look at Matic. William wants to see Matic, which has been one of the stronger ones, mainly because it's coming off of this is beautiful bat pattern, couple of patterns that the software is kicking out at the low. Geez, that was 40 cents. A great move to target one at 131. Now coming back down, I would think, like the other ones, if this is the crab pattern, general bat pattern area is where you want to see, Matic's at 113. Hey, if it could come back to 88 cents, that would actually be a good thing. We almost got down there in the last one, but that would officially be the type 2 because, look, we hit target 1 only recently. On that last thrust that hit target 1 wasn't able to go through. The other one is Link, which I know a few people are super bullish on Link. A lot of people talk very highly about this crypto. Ever since I really became acquainted with crypto, everyone said, oh, Chainlink's the next whatever. But just stuck in this downtrend. Isn't there, what's down here? I thought there was a big pattern. Yeah, oh, it's not. It's an all-time 886. But Link does not have as much harmonic phenomenon going on as some of these others. And I don't know really the crypto tech behind it. I would just say, hey, yeah, beautiful bell-shaped curve to the 886, full harmonic reset. That's at 667, 668. You're at 736. I think every time you come under 660 or anywhere close to there, it's probably a place to continue to buy or at least add to your bags, as they say, with the understanding that at least now you are to the right of the downtrend. So bullish signals to the right of that downtrend become increasingly important. Couple more. David says, penny wise, pound foolish, because he didn't enter in BNB at 14 because he was waiting for 13. And look what happened. Yeah, I mean, that BNB run was insane. A few more. Some of the ones that we have talked about previously, just a quick update, but to remind people, yeah, V-Chain is another one where it's a beautiful pattern. And it's going to do a lot of work down here, anywhere around, essentially, you're at the level where you want to be. Patterns completed. You've got confirmation that came in down here, 2.1, 2.2 cents. And you're just basing. You're doing time here. What do we have? Any confirmation? No, not on the weekly. On the daily, yeah, your last was bullish. And that was at 2.0, 2.016 cents. Here's the thing I like about Binance Coin, though. Excuse me, about V-Chain, is that your amplified RSI is starting to get above the 50 level like that, where we can start to anticipate an acceleration. So listen, you could, good area to be getting into V-Chain, but doesn't mean it's going to blow off and go moon right away. But maybe a place to slowly add in. You don't have to buy all at once. And, you know, you're going to have to go through some patient waiting time to see the major gains. But with all of those patterns up there, and I've said this before, you know, your targets on these kind of setups where target one's off the Gartley, you know, you have a Gartley here, you have an alternate bat, those are your daily structures. Hop level for that Gartley was 1.2 cents. All right, we're stabilizing in that zone. Let it break out. Look, if we can get you're so squeezed right now. You get a break above 2.5 cents and it close and you start to run. That's when you could get out of this hole. But the target ones are 14 cents off of both patterns. And the weekly chart, that beautiful, I mean, that's beautiful. That weekly bat, all-time bat, its target one is 11.9 cents. So a nice 4 or 5 banger. But that probably could take all year to get there. It's not really that important that it moons right away or even starts anything other than triggering off of these areas for now, getting into position to where time then becomes more on your side. And I've said that as well, because we're coming up to where we're going to start the countdown for Bitcoin halving really soon, where it happens next year. And that's then when I think money will flow and flood back in to get another surge in the crypto cycle. Couple more. Daniel wants to look at compound, which I like that. And that's another beautiful back-to-back patterns. Go to your daily chart. There you go. I'm still waiting on it, you know, I hope we get it, but waiting on the retest of the shark at 31. Beautiful crab pattern. Did a reaction, didn't get to target one. That's a little disappointing. And then you printed a shark again, 30 bucks. So you're trying to get down there, you know, 43 at the moment. And even up here, when it rallied to 57, we're saying, look, if we can come back and we could retest this one more time, that would be a much better situation. And I still say that. I think that's a great chart and exemplifies the kind of situation you want to see, because these will take off. If you're able to build a case where you've got multiple patterns at the low, and you do, look at all these crab patterns and the shark pattern, and you know, you're 43 cents. The first crab was 71, but we know how crypto rolls. And once it gets going, then we're talking about 270 as target one. That's viable. But that's not until next year. But this is clearly the area down here where you want to be snapping that up. But keep your eye on it. I think if you could get to 30, that would be a gift. If not, if just maybe check back and print us another yellow dot, because you're close to doing that. It's right here. You check back that at 37. And I would wait for that, at least that check back. Two more. Monero has a beautiful weekly. I mean, this is just a beautiful pattern where, I hope to be coming back to these patterns a year from now saying, look, they were 2 of 2. They had confirmation. They broke out of the downtrend, and the targets were much higher. It's just a matter of really being patient with in this zone, lining up with the support, pulling the trigger there, and letting it do the work. Letting it do the work to really get up to target 2 for this butterfly. The butterfly that completed a year ago, January, did an incredible reactive move to target 2, then slammed back down. Hop is holding. Clearly holding. It couldn't even bust through 113 on the hop at all. And XA is at 135. I doubt that even gets retested. We'll see. But you want to be eyeing up these kind of formations, recognizing that the pattern formed. I've always called that like a signpost of future price action where, hey, there's a butterfly pattern. We look for the reaction. We look for the retest. And then that can give you the support needed to set you off for the larger move. But there's a lot of these. Zcash is another one we have looked at. Somebody's really wanting to look at AMP. Here's AMP. AMP USD, another T coin. Oh, wow, that popped off quite a bit, but look at this. AMP is this big, deep crab. XA level was at just a shy over a penny. Confirmation was more like 0.7 cents. You're at 0.3 cents, if you will, with some confirmation. But this is definitely one of those T coins, S coins, more like a T coin, really toilet coin. But I'm not surprised to see this thing just go sideways for a while. Ultimately, you break above some of these areas where you can get above a penny, or you could even get above the zone. You would still assume a target 1 move. I just think you're going to be there for a while, and there might be better plays than something like that. I mean, I think you could probably go with some bigger cap plays that are moving. This isn't really moving that much. That are probably better trading vehicles. I don't know anything about that, though. I'd love to see this thing ramp up. I just don't think it's time. I think you have to get through into the second quarter. Now that first quarter is over, now we've got possibilities to open up and do more things in the next few months. And I think June is going to be a pivotal time. You come into June here and get past June, and we hold our head in Bitcoin or Ethereum, it'll tell us a great deal about what's going to happen going into that next cycle. So we can start talking about this positioning for what a lot of the OG crypto people have benefited from. Those people that were in Ethereum at $20, $40, or in Bitcoin at $100 or $500 that have still been in it the whole time. They understand how these markets go. They cycle. The only thing about the next cycle that I hope everyone has learned on this last time, when they do moon, you're going to have to seize the profits. You're not holding on forever. We'll get to that. Let's hope we get to those conversations. Here's Algo, and it's another one where I've talked about this. It's it's a weekly, big 886 weekly, and I know the daily had, what is down here on the bullish side is that's actually not the one I was looking at. What was the other one that I was looking at on the A's? I forget what. Oh, Ave. I think it's Ave with a big weekly pattern down here on Ave. I had something something in the A crypto. I don't want to chase it down. But even Aave and a lot of those privacy coins are basing at low levels. They look like they've been destroyed, but they're just taking their time. Bitcoin Cash is another good one to look at. Check this out. Just in the last year, it's a perfect 1-2. I mean, off this bat pattern, a bearish pattern where type 1, right back for type 2, and you went to target 2. I mean, look, there to there, fairly ideal. Now holding, I would say 121 on Bitcoin Cash is definitely something to focus on for support. And where's, yeah, it's this 886, swing 886 too. Right there, off that low. Hold on, wrong one. You've got a lot of these. Litecoin, very similar. But there's the 886 off of that. Oh, that's why the stupid log scale's on. Don't do log scale, folks. Don't. That's why I was having problems. It's probably why I wasn't getting those other patterns. Yeah, Bitcoin Cash capped by that recent bearish pattern, but sorry, this is it. It bothers me that I have to fish through these different feeds because the data is not the same. But it just basing down here. I think a better one than this is Litecoin. Let me see that. I haven't looked at those two in a while. Here's Litecoin. Litecoin, there you go. And Litecoin, Coinbase feed on the daily, coming back for a type 2. This will be interesting to see what goes on here. Because Litecoin's a bearish bat at the moment, but still needs to do the return move. So there was type 1, come on down, hit target 1, there's HSI. I think you make a run now above 100. Minimum level 99.43 is your XA, but we could go as high as the hop at 116. They look good. They look real good. Keep an eye on those. And then what was the other one you guys had? There was one more. Hold on. One more. It was either Tezos or Uniswap. Uniswap is one of our 3 ideas. Tezos looks like that. Another beautiful crab, deep crab here on the daily. And did that retest on that crazy wick. Right back at, what was that, 50 cents? Sorry, 90 cents. Need some glasses. That is a type 2. Would love to see this maybe come back down to 95 cents here at 111. But this exemplifies the kind of automatic framework action we want to see, where these big structural formations, the harmonic patterns, are pointing us in the right spot. That, hey, down here is where we want to be scraping the lows for the next cycle run, form a higher low, and then start to pivot up. What's that look like on the weekly? Just like every other T coin off of 90% off the all-time high. Here's Uniswap. Oh, I know what the one I wanted to show. Hold on, I'll go to Uniswap really quick. Uniswap, beautiful butterfly. This is, I think, a better representation of the kind of price action we want to see associated with big weekly patterns. Clearly, I mean, it's a textbook butterfly. And there's your confirmation. And the hop level and the butterfly is putting in a floor. It's a big floor. It's $6.58. You're right around $6. But target one is $16.63. That's the assessment. Eventually you will get there. How many weeks, months you've got to sit through that? Well, there's two ways to look at this. You could wait for the breakout, which really then comes in above 740, 750, and try to capture the explosion out of the move, or stagger your longs over the next couple of months. Jeffrey, synthetics was exactly the one I was wanted to look at. But all of these exemplify the ideal harmonic patterns that we've seen in past cycles that marked huge lows. And then once they took off, they never looked back. I know synthetics has been one we've been in front of for a while. Had this a butterfly, back-to-back butterfly patterns, and that's a 2 of 2 with the low at 147. Will we come back and retest this pattern? There's a 1. Will we come back for the type 2? I don't know. I would prefer to look for either another pattern that develops maybe at a higher level or even a yellow dot, and that's around 211. That's like a 30% correction to get down there, but I'll wait. Be patient on this. Don't need to FOMO yet on anything because really there aren't any of these that have put themselves in a position to really spring forward and explode. So that's the deal with ones like that. Yes, the Ren. That's another one I did want to highlight because that thing has been popping up and down. You've had a number of moves from, say, 8 cents or 9 cents to 12 cents. Why is the log chart coming up again? I don't know. But look at what Ren has. And this is really important to recognize that, hey, if we have a printed pattern, there's a reason why. Okay, there's a reason why the pattern has been generated because it satisfies all of the algorithms and those are the rules that are published in the book, the measurement rules with a lot of constraints built into these patterns that show what I call true harmonic levels. So the structure, the big M formation that formed, the 886 and other metrics come in around 15 cents. But where's the first bullish confirmation? It's more like 9.5, and then even that little tiny dot. That's the confirmation of that HSI. That's really what you want to see. That was at 7.3. That was the low. You're at 10.5, and you've tried to thrust up here a couple of times. This will start to get going. This is a slightly different spot, though, than others. This has a little bit more work to get to the right of its downtrend, and don't dismiss that factor. That's something we wrestled with all last year. That most of these had beautiful patterns, but they simply have not broken the bounds of the downtrend. You need to pop above that downtrend from the bull market high, this entire bear market. Get to the right of that. I mean, that doesn't happen really until May or June, which explains why you have tried to pop up a couple of times and they just smack it down. But it's in a great area. And it's, again, another one of these delayed developments that I'm not going to be dismissive of. I've just recognized the fact that you're still under the weight of the downtrend. But once that breaks free, as we've seen in others, we saw that in Bitcoin, that they'll get going. Check out last week's session where we went through the possibilities of Bitcoin and how, especially when I reviewed some of the prior bear market scenarios of how long it took, what kind of patterns we saw, really telling. And a lot of the same conditions are shaping up right now. So we're living through it and we're having to fight the fight to break the downtrend when we all want to just jump in and have it explode, what have you. But that's not how it goes. Need to be strategizing these long-term levels for that larger move, the larger change in the whole downtrend. And that's standard technical analysis no matter what. But with that position of where we are, understand that REN is a nice structure, but has work to do. Really quick, before I jump over, I'm going to have to cut out fairly soon, but I do want to take a peek at the total indices. We really focused a lot on crypto today because Ethereum and Bitcoin and Doge and a few others are popping off, and that's going to bring more people's attention back to this space of those, especially when Bitcoin goes above 30,000. I'll say this, like Ethereum, both of those are on the edge of a breakout acceleration phase that will not give you time. Total crypto market cap, same deal. It'll probably be associated with a big move in one of those in the large caps. But look, we're trying to get above this static resistance from there to there, which is we're scraping the top side, which is about 1.15 trillion. Talk to me when we get above 1.2 or 1.25. And this is a better one. The total crypto index is in a better spot because we have broken out of this downtrend. From last year, that was the whole problem all year long. You weren't going to do major things in crypto until you broke above that downtrend, and there you are. If we do our static spread of retracements, just go from the high to low, and you can do this with all the crypto. That a minimum harmonic move, which is a minimum 382 move, puts you at about 1.6 trillion. That's a minimum reaction. Minimum reaction. If this is going to be a bounce and get above here, you go do a minimum retracement move, 382 move, 1.6, if not as high as a 618 reactive bounce. I'd say, even a 50% retracement of that bear market puts you close to 2 trillion. And then total 3, which that and DeFi have been my two favorites because of the patterns. Check it out. I think we talked about this. Beautiful shark. Beautiful shark. And this is crypto 3 without Ethereum and Bitcoin. This is in a better spot than most because there's the downtrend, and you've clearly violated that in January. You broke out of that downtrend. Way to go. Pattern completed all the way back here in May of last year, but your first confirmation levels weren't triggered until June, or the check back was all the way down here, even October, November. And this is just starting. So this is really, we should call this, it's total 3. We should call it total T for the total T coin index, because that's the type of crypto that will run once we get out of that zone. We get above, say, 395 billion, 400 billion. Target 1 on there is over 700 billion. That's when you're going to see all those T coins really take off. And that's what we're playing for. That's what we're positioning for today. And the DeFi is probably one of the nicer harmonic patterns with that alternate bat down here. We hit some resistance recently with bearish HSI coming off the zone, but like all of those others, this still needs time. This one's a little bit different than, say, total 3 or total T, as I should now call it, because there's your trend line. And it does matter where you draw those trend lines. And that it's important, and this is a TA little 30-second primer of how to draw a trend line. You want to start obviously at the inflection, and then whatever the secondary inflection is, that kind of sets your slope, and you have to encompass those peaks and then project it down. So for the DeFi market cap, love the bat pattern, but because we're well below that downtrend line, don't be surprised to see this take a lot more time. I mean, this could take months on that DeFi index versus, say, total 3, different spot. I mean, it's obvious. It's a subtle difference. If you're not really looking for it, you might not make that differentiation, but that's critical. We've looked at all of them. Why not total 2? There's total 2. And look at all those patterns. Now, total 2, if we draw the trend line as well, is a slightly better spot. Not like DeFi. But most of these that have broken out really didn't happen until 10, 12 weeks ago. So just focus on that. Let's wait for those and target those with big patterns, especially those that are to the right of the downtrend. And your objective on all of them is a target 1 move for now. I'm not saying massive breakout or anything. I sketched out some possibilities in Bitcoin, but we're only going to take it up to T1, and we'll deal with it from there. 1 or 2 more that I talked about last week that I do want to highlight some of those stocks, related stocks. Like here's the Ethereum, the Grayscale Ethereum Trust. And these have patterns. And this is the Grayscale Ethereum Trust. Most people know the Bitcoin Trust. And I showed that last time. Well, here's the Ethereum Trust. That's beautiful back-to-back pattern action. Big pattern with a small pattern in the zone, and then draw the trend line. I mean, that downtrend traces to there, and really the breakout happened 11, maybe 12 weeks ago. So your early phases with 2 patterns behind you, those are nice. The GBTC, again, I recommend. I'm showing this because even if you're not going to play it, these have phenomenal proportional moves and beautiful pattern structures that explain why they're popping. And you want to monitor them for progress in Bitcoin. Yes, it's related to Bitcoin, but you're going to see things here that you're not going to see maybe in the spot price. And clearly, like Bitcoin, we break above recent highs. Let's say we get a 3-bar breakout. It's done. You go into acceleration mode. That's what I'm looking for. Any 3-bar breakout, a breakout of a 3-bar range will set this off because you're out of the zone and you go to target 1, 28 to 32. All right, talk about 3-bar breakouts or breakdowns or whatever. Let's jump over to SPY and the major developments going on here and Qs on the daily. SPY, we know this. SPY's on a retest for the shark. HSI, overbought, giving you an inflection today. So it's an easy way to think about it, but you haven't generated the bearish confirmation yet. You're several days away from doing that. And we could drift into this zone even higher. So confirmation still needs a couple more days. Not so worried about today. Looks like they're trying to bring it back a little bit. S&P now only off 20, which is great. Anything on a 5-minute? Remember our midday setup? Do we have anything on the midday setup? Our midday dot yet? No. Usually looking for a 5-minute signal on one of the either 2 time frames, extended or real time. It's tough to see this one, but here it is in the extended trading hours. It was actually a type 2 this morning. There's the bat for the type 1 from yesterday at the close. And then this is the pre-market. And that's why I look at both. I look at the extended hours for SPY. I look at the just the real-time hours as well, the regular trading session. That's why we're down today. It's just simply a type 2 bat pattern correcting a hell of a run for the last 2 weeks. Here's the regular trading hours. 5-minute time frame still. And there's, okay, that's even cleaner. So on the regular trading hours, you had a real nice bat pattern, but it's still only a type 1. So don't be surprised if we come all the way back up to retest that bat, maybe tomorrow. It's not over. You know, this market's trying to do major things, and I'll probably save more of the stocks for Thursday. But the weekly time frame says it all, because I mean, it's just amazing that there are so many people looking for a crash, and yet you have a phenomenon like that. Okay, everyone can draw the trend line. And just a couple minutes ago, I was saying, how do you draw a trend line? Define your peak inflection or your lowest inflection and encompass the secondary low or all important peaks there. I mean, that's a generous downtrend line, if you will. We can even go like that. Well, it doesn't take long for this then to become apparent where, hey, you keep making progress like we have been, then you're not going to get a breakdown. Like if you get above that, call it 414, 415, you set up for another BAM, bat action magnet move breakout. And you trace it out. There's X to A, you go extreme high to low, there's your B point. Sits right at a 56, really close to being almost a Gartley. And you get your C point at a 52, great. And that should then trigger you up to an 886, where once we break out above that, you go to the bat. And you're much closer to that scenario than maybe flushing down here. That's the play. And I would be looking for this SPY and use that as your macro baseline, that once that breaks out and it's a close, let's get it official. Any close above 416.72 on the week gets you where you want to be for a full 886 retest, the all-time high. It's remarkable. I mean, I'm just focusing on daily for now, and we could probably form maybe in a few days or maybe next week, we get another bearish temporary signal and we keep grinding higher. But the weekly looks good. And then jump to the Qs. Look, QQQ is something we have brought into the conversation. We were looking exclusively at SPY. Now I want to look at the QQQ because that is a type 2 of the bat pattern. And there's been a lot of patterns on this daily chart. But, you know, type 1 down to target 1 back here. What do you need up there? Because here's HSI arrow and the check back. But as we said last week, we're still 2 bearish bars, bearish days away from even starting to consider this rally to stop. Just know we're super early. And when you're early like that, it's one of the things with harmonic patterns is you can get to that spot and be like, all right, I've been waiting for this to be the bearish opportunity at 312 for so long that I'm just going to jump on it. No, that's not how it works. Looking for a dot, which is maybe if today's bearish and we get one more bearish candle, then you would get a dot. And then maybe you start looking. But for now, next few days or even for the rest of this week, look, this is the proposition. We keep climbing. The hop level at 329 is the likely objective. That's the hop level off of that bat, which still pushes you higher. And then there's some other levels, you know, even higher on the Qs. And that has, it's taken more time than, say, the SPY, but get some perspective. Look, we have a butterfly at the bottom here. And on the weekly, there's the butterfly from the weekly. You go off the 2021 low, perfect 786 at the B point. You have a perfect A, B, C, D, and that's all automatically calculated. You have to have a minimum A, B, C, D in all patterns, and the software calculates that to get a verifiable pattern, and you have that. So it's a type 1. But what are we looking for at type 1s? We're looking for a dot. We're looking for confirmation between target 1, target 2. So theoretically, on the weekly, we could go as high as target 2 on this move. We'll wait and see. You're not there yet. You haven't registered anything of significance on the weekly, and the weeklies probably look better than the daily. The weekly would have to come back all the way one more time. Amplified, same deal. Amplified has not registered any overbought signal. So you're still up. I mean, despite today, you're still going to be up into the next few weeks until that happens. That buys you time. Think of it that way. It buys you time, more time to continue in that direction until it triggers. And that could be as high as 346. We talked about some individual stocks last week, Amazon, Google. Went through a bunch on Thursday. For now, we're 320. Maybe go as high as 330. Keep it easy, keep it round, but still climbing in the zone. You're several sessions away from even having to consider some kind of bearish confirmation. So don't sweat it. Look for, I would still look for 5-minute pullback opportunities. Like, what do we got here? Today, there you go. What's that? That's an alternate bat on the 5-minute. That's using real-time hours. But this is something to consider for today, or even going into, heck, yeah, for today. Let's go back and do the type 2. We don't have anything that registered down here. I wish you had an HSI signal, but that's clearly the reaction from this morning. That's over. That's done. Anywhere around this 319 to go back as high as 322 on the hop makes sense to me. What's the extended trading hours look like? All right, we do have a dot down here. So we have a midday dot on the Qs on the 5-minute, and we do it on the 5-minute exclusively. For most of you that know or have been to some of the gold sessions, I look at a 5-minute primary time frame and a 30-second, and this is just for intraday. What does a 30-second chart look like? And why 30 seconds? Because you're going to get patterns there. You're going to get more patterns on the 30-second than a minute or even the 5-minute. I prefer to get a 5-minute pattern. I'll show you a 5-minute pattern here in a second. But these little 30-minute structures combined with the 5-minute time frame at least give you kind of a signpost trigger signal, if you will. Essentially, that's what a pattern is. It's kind of like a traffic sign. Like, hi, I'm an opportunity right here. I'm a pattern right here. Come hit it. Give me confirmation, and you're in business to go to one of your targets. That's type 1 shark. So your 319.50, target 1 at 320.38 on a 30-second. Monitor it on the 5-minute though. Here's one that I posted yesterday in the Discord. That real nice 5-minute structure on AMD. Still valid. Ooh, there you go. Now you got another butterfly there for today. Perfect type 2. I mean, really nice. There, just a 5-minute pattern. And now, just for today, it's kind of a tight range. Yesterday was a little bit better, but there's another butterfly. Beautiful dot here. That should get you up to 96.67. Again, this is simply applied to day trading. I use the same techniques, but longer term time intervals for daily or 4-hour. But that's a prime example. The other one was Amazon from yesterday. Oh, yeah, and that's taken off. Nice. Check out what happened yesterday. Beautiful shark down here, and it was a type 2. This was the other chart I posted in the Discord, but this was ideal. Okay, 5-minute pattern. There's the early move on the shark. Comes back for the type 2 retest later in the day. Gives you confirmation right in the last hour, and then explodes up to target to 103. Looks like that wants to go a little bit more. One or two more. Here's Meta. And Meta, oh, look at that. It's just climbing. Meta, really about the daily, weekly level. We continue to march higher until we get to target 1. 250, 126 minimum on the daily. The weekly levels are pretty, it's actually a cleaner chart on the weekly. Look at that. But both the daily and weekly are saying this thing's on a rope, minimum 242. You're now 213. Brian's asking, do you need a dot or is HSI arrow enough confirmation? I think we want to go with the dot. I mean, it really has been a help to get that development with pattern structures. We saw that in that 5-minute Amazon chart. Meta. Beautiful. Look, Meta right now it definitely helps also when we're at targets, because here's a 5-minute crab in Meta. Popped up this morning, went down to target 1, definition of a type 1 reaction, but we want confirmation to say that it's over. You've got that at 212, 213, and we know Meta's in a daily uptrend. So, BTFD on a lot of these that are trending like that, where we'll go back to the hop. 216.57. I don't think that's a stretch. But beautiful, pull up the dot. You could take off the HSI arrows, but I think it's better because you can use those as a warning signal. Let's say we get up here and we're monitoring this return move up to 214 and it prints an HSI. If you're really aggressive in your management and you see an arrow, especially day trading, that can be enough just to take profits and get out on that move. But Meta's in a nice spot, and that should continue to go. Daniel, I'm going to save those for Thursday, including Travel Zoo. T-Zoo has been a good one. I see that's starting to climb out. All right, you've got 4 of them. I'll go. Here's Travel Zoo, and I hope you guys don't run this, but Travel Zoo has been one of our 3 ideas, and just so you folks know, I've talked about this before. Travel Zoo, low cap, low volume. I don't usually like to go with those low volume moves, but at a minimum, that had everything you wanted to see. It's just not going to move as smoothly as, say, Meta because it's low volume, but the same dynamics are going on there. Big bat pattern, taking your time to get out of that whole zone, and you are, now making progress with a 3-bar breakout, where target 1 is the only assessment you want to go for, 10. Bring your other ones on Thursday. We'll look at them, and we'll look at the rest of those as well. We'll look at the likes of Tesla. This is another 3 ideas that I've mentioned. I shared with folks before on the daily. It's a little lower volume, but again, a beautiful back-to-back pattern formation. This is Tower Semi. So we'll get into more semis on Thursday. But big shout out to everybody. Thanks again for everyone that's showed up today. We'll look at more of those on Thursday. Couldn't have done this without everyone here. And if you're new, welcome. Get on board here at harmonictrader.com. Get with the software. Check out all the resources, and then get over to the Discord. and there's people there that will help. Lots of stuff that's in the Discord, even more things that we're adding. All right. Thanks, everybody. A great 200 live streams. I can't even believe it. I don't know how many will go. Maybe one day we'll get to 1,000, but I'm going to be here until further notice. Have a great one, everybody. As always, go get them. We'll